is this going to be LeBron's last year? Do we think that from where we sit, that LeBron entering age 41 and year 23, and with where he sits with the Lakers, they didn't offer him an extension. He's making $52 million, all of that stuff. Do we think this is the last year for him, or is this just the last year in LA?
Here's the thing. This is the one time going forward, we're not sure if he can dictate the terms of his departure, right? So next year he's a free agent. After this contract expires, I don't see him working on an extension with the Lakers, right? So I would say, and here's the thing, we know he's going to want the farewell tour, right?
Yes.
It's not going to be a news release like the Tim Duncan, real quiet news release. We know he's going to have the Kobe Deluxe farewell tour. And so that means you got to determine it in advance. Even Kobe didn't announce it until the season had started, right? He didn't say going into the season that this is it for me. I think LeBron's going to want, a tribute at each and every stop he makes on the road. And so you're going to have to announce that before the season. And this probably is the last season that he will enter in full control of where he will end up.
That's a great point.
And so I think you got to do it. The flip side of that, Vinny, is that, we're talking about, okay, if he wants to go somewhere, really the only mechanism is to do the buyout, right? If he wants to get to his preferred destination at this point, especially if his preferred destination is the Cleveland Cavaliers, which happen to be the only team really presently in the second apron, which means they have the fewest means to try to acquire LeBron James. And so, again, do you want to get bought out during your farewell tour?
Yeah, that's a tough one. You don't want your legacy.
A rough look, man. So I just feel like if anyone is entitled to dictating the terms, it is LeBron James. He's dictated the terms, but again, you're the all-time leading scorer. You're one of the great players in league history. You deserve the farewell tour.
Yes.
And so let's make sure we get this right. And I think we can count on the Lakers and handling it right if they do. I think that's one of the reasons that he went there is that, they make sure they take care of their legends on the way out the door and beyond even. So he shouldn't think about the moment. Let's think about enduring, and LeBron is someone that takes that in consideration. Let's think about enduring moments. And for all the rough parts of Kobe's final years in Lakerland, we all remember how he went out with 60 points.
Yes, we do.
At home on his terms, right? And so the other thing with LeBron, if the Lakers had advanced, he wouldn't have been able to finish the playoffs last year.
Right.
Charles Barkley didn't get to go out on his terms. He got hurt. He tore his Achilles or something.
No, he tore a muscle like a pec or something like that.
Yeah,
and then came back for his very last game.
And came back and got one gift layup, right? But it wasn't very dignified. So LeBron has to take into consideration, as fantastic a job as he has done of maintaining his body, it's not up to you. That's what he's finding out. It's not always up to you. He has this kind of fluke play, gets bumped, tears his MCL or, some meniscus damage, and he wouldn't have been able to finish the playoffs last year.
Right.
Are we sure he'll be able to finish this season? And this is not a knock on him. This is just the realities of 2 decades of wear and tear on your body. And, it's not guaranteed you get to go out the way you want to go out.
It's funny, when we think of the NBA's legends of the game, right? Bird didn't really go out on his own terms. He had the bad back, 92 that last year. I think they played Cleveland in the second round. He might have had a last sort of hurrah. And I think maybe game 6 of that series. And then they got blown out by Cleveland in game 7. Magic, there was a 91 series against the Bulls. Nobody knew that was going to be the end of Magic Johnson as we knew it. And then when he came back in 96, I thought he played much better than we remember. We remember sort of him bumping the official and complaining about some of the younger guys. But he was averaging 16, 7, and 6.
Yeah, but you know how he went out, how it ended for Magic?
A 4 games lost to Houston in the first round.
And sitting on the bench in the last game. Magic ended his career on the bench, losing in the first round. So he obviously deserves better than that. LeBron deserves better than that.
Yep. Michael, of course, with the Wizards. We didn't get a chance to see Michael age gracefully. We didn't get a chance to see the decline. He left as the best player, and he came back as a 39-year-old with a bad finger and bad knees, which happens when you get old. For LeBron's sake, like you said, you hope that it's, like you said, more dignified, that it's with the Lakers. Like, he spent more time with the Lakers in this stint, J.A., than he has in any other stint of his career. This is entering what year 8 with the Lakers, if I remember correctly. He spent 7 in Cleveland the first time.
This is his longest run with any team. It's really weird because I still think
you don't think of him as a Laker. I don't think of him as a Laker.
Right. Well, it's weird. Like, he's the all-time leading scorer, and you don't think of him as a scorer. Like if you think about LeBron James, like you just think of the totality, but like you don't think of him as a scorer. Like you think of Kevin Durant as a scorer, right? Even though he can do other things, but Kevin Durant is one of the great scorers that we've seen. He makes it look so easy. And you're right. His longest tenure is with the Lakers. He very well could go out as a Laker, but it's going to be hard for me to think of him. I think of him as a Cav, but I think of peak LeBron with the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. Oh, God.
What? It's similar, Vinny. Obviously, Shaq peaked with the Lakers and then went to several other teams.
Yeah.
But the best Shaq highlights are with Orlando. Like, if I'm putting a Shaq reel together, the majority of the highlights are going to be in that Orlando Magic uniform.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The best LeBron highlights are the first stint in Cleveland.
Yes.
The best version of LeBron is Miami. The most memorable version.
But the definitive LeBron moment is with the Cavs. Blocked by James, right? The definitive LeBron moment. Cleveland, this is for you. All that. The definitive moment is with the Cleveland Cavaliers. MJ, it was interesting, Vinny. One of my favorite stories, I went on the road with him, his last West Coast swing with the Wizards. And it's not that he was going through the motions, but he didn't want a big fuss made over it. He was just he was passing through.
Right.
And it was just weird to see the GOAT just in passing, like, let's get this over with.
Because he was getting back to being owner, or so he thought, or getting back to having a piece of the team.
I spent a great afternoon with him. It was at the Warriors practice facility, the old practice facility in Oakland, and they finished. Yeah. And he was hanging out. Patrick Ewing was an assistant coach on the Wizards. Chris Mullin was in the front office of the Warriors. So all those three, dream team teammates, two great stars of the Big East back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just all sitting around talking. And Michael was talking about, all his plans for when he went back into the front office. Like, he fully thought, like, okay, we're just going to finish this up. I'll head back in the front office, including, who he liked in the 2003 draft. Might not be who he actually thought about, who you thought it might be. But
was it a bad player? Was it a bad player that he thought of?
No, it wasn't a bad player. It just wasn't who turned out to be the best player in that draft.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Honestly, I might have been with him, or I didn't think he was that far off in his pick. I'll just leave it at that. But
you're going to tell me who that is during the commercial. Go ahead.
He was fully in the mode and fully expecting, and then he just got blindsided. He goes in for that meeting with the owner, Abe Pollin, afterward, and next you know, he's pulling out of the garage in his Corvette, and that was the last time we saw him in D.C.
That was wild.
That's the other thing. Like, again, where is LeBron? Post-career, is he gonna be sitting courtside at the Laker games? Is he gonna be courtside in Cleveland? Is he gonna mend the fences so he can show up in Miami? Like where will we see him?
That's a great question.
Post game.
His home. Here's the thing: LeBron is transient. Wherever he lays his hat is his home. That's the Temptations. Go look it up. I think he's the type of player who could show up at any NBA arena and expect to get the royal treatment. Like, except for Boston. Boston and the Bay might be the two places where he goes where he feels like he won't get like a standing ovation upon entrance. But any other place, he probably feels like, yeah, the party don't start till I walk in. Go ahead and give me them 2 front row seats. Like I'm calling an hour before the game and you're going to make a seat for me. But I think ultimately his forever home as an NBA player is going to be in Cleveland. His forever home as an NBA statue will be the Lakers, unless this thing ends.
Does he get a statue out front?
Not statue, not literally statue, but just saying.
But that's an important thing, and it's it's something he wants, and I'm not sure he gets a statue.
I don't think he. Why would he get a statue there? He should get a statue in Cleveland. He should get a statue in front of that arena for sure. In Cleveland, absolutely. And if you wanted to quibble and say maybe give him a statue in Miami, I don't know if Pat would go for that, but okay, fine. He authored some of the absolute greatest and best moments during that 4-year stretch, right? And some people would say that the Heat are still living off of that 4-year stretch. LeBron James is the author of that.
He's the best player to play for the Heat. He's not the greatest, Dwayne is Mr. Heat. I'd probably put Alonzo Mourning even ahead of LeBron in terms of just Heat legends. But he's certainly the best player that's played there. Obviously the greatest player in Cleveland. Like, it's weird. Like, he's the best player who's played for the Lakers, but he's not the best Laker. If I'm ranking everyone who's ever played, I'm putting him ahead of Magic and Kareem probably, but like he's not ahead of them in Laker lore.
Well, look, I think Bleacher put out their top 100 players of all time, and I think Kobe was like number 11, and everybody got all upset about that. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if LeBron's a better basketball player overall. Is better than Magic Johnson. I think LeBron is a top 3 player of all time. 2 or 3 depending on the day. I think number 1, that ship has sailed. But I think depending on the day, that could be Magic, Kareem, or LeBron.
I'm putting him over both my Lakers that I grew up with their posters on the wall. I just think he could do more impact, But my criteria is always if I have to win a playoff game, who am I taking? Magic has that Game 6 in Philadelphia in 1980.
As a rookie.
LeBron's Game 6 against Boston. Man,
Look, the Pantheon.
All-time performance.
You don't have to agree, but you have to click subscribe. Debate lives here. Yahoo Sports is where the conversation starts. Bring your takes to the comments.